Hi, I hope everyone's doing well in this strange socially distanced world that we are currently in. Hi, my name is Sarah Klocke. I am an associate professor and program director for communication and theater at College of St. Mary in Omaha, Nebraska. And during the summer season, typically before COVID set in, I serve as the director of production and design at Highlands Playhouse in North Carolina. I'm still fairly new to Region 5. I've been in Region 6 for a very long time, but this is my third year in Region 5, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity to get to share a few tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way for resources for teaching the art of theater or theater appreciation. Basically, we're talking about those 100 level courses that are basically just introductory level arts credits for students who are non-majors. And I will say, if you are like me, we're living in a world where it's very difficult to find resources to share with our theater appreciation students. And I have noticed that there is a little bit of a silver lining in the sense of the course that we're going to look at today. Actually, it's on the screen right now. It is my completely, totally online version of this course due to social distancing and me personally recovering from COVID. My courses are completely online this semester. Last semester, as I'm sure many of us experienced, it was the dance of we're live, now we're online, we're live, now we're online. So it's been a little bit of a dance. So the resources that we kind of scroll through today, you will be able to see them in my actual course. Now, I want us to take just a few minutes to discuss some quick links. So some quick options to be able to view information on productions that you can share with your students. So we're going to talk about some quick links. We're going to talk about some wonderful resources through the American Theater Wing with working in theater. So we get to talk a little bit about tech and design and what it's like to work in theater, because that can be a really foreign concept to many of our students who are not theater majors and they're just taking this course for their arts credit. We have so many different kinds of jobs that they have no idea exist. So I'm really going to urge you to not only cover productions, but also talk about what it's like to actually work in theater. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what it means to access a live production that's been previously recorded, and perhaps even bring that conversation into theater versus performance art versus any kind of live arts presentation. And then finally, I'm going to urge us just to be a little bit inventive and just to know that you are doing some amazing work. To be able to teach theater during this time, don't let any of the bumps in the road slow you down. Know that the hard work that you're putting in is going to be noticed by your students. So number one, I'm going to click over really quickly to one of my favorite sites, and that's going to be Playbill. Okay. So specifically, let me see if I can't move this around a little bit. So one of my favorite sources is Playbill. And I know that we access the site all the time looking for jobs, looking for just general updates about the industry, but Playbill has really done us a great service by listing productions that are either free or on streaming formats, but are incredibly easily accessible. So this website has been my number one place to head when I am looking for productions to share with my students right now. It's the jumping off place. It's the place that I go for inspiration. Now that being said, many of these productions are going to have limited viewing times. You can even notice here. So March through May. So keep in mind that if you use a resource from this list and the other lists that we're going to take a look at, just because the production's available today may not mean that it will be available at a later date. Pay really close attention to those streaming timelines. For example, I had a wonderful production of Much Ado About Nothing in my fall semester, and I even opened the course with it. I just loved discussing that production. And this semester, that content is no longer available. So keep in mind, pay very, 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 very close attention to those dates because they do expire, they do go away. Some of the companies even go towards subscription services now. So keep a really close eye on the dates and whether or not they require a subscription service. Also, we have What's on Stage. This has been a very helpful resource as well. And again, we're just talking about quick links. You can scroll through this website on What's on Stage, and you can get a really, really, really quick rundown of some really, really strong productions that are available either free or accessible through a streaming service. But all of these should be either free or mostly free. Okay, so scrolling through, we'll even find content such as, I know some productions companies are a little bit more difficult to access, and so it's kind of neat. I thought that Disney has a few productions that are accessible, such as Tangled the Musical. And my students especially, I'm trying to build the course this semester and all during the pandemic to where the material that we're covering, we talk about timely issues, but also remembering that theater can be an escape. So I would encourage you, think about including some productions that might have a little bit lighter content to them. The students and the feedback that I received last semester, Tangled the Musical was actually one of their favorite shows that they got to watch. So take a few moments to peruse these resources. So again, I'm going to suggest that you check out What's on Stage and then also check out Playbill. Now, I know that we're all really excited about sharing all of the different aspects of theater. And one thing that I would say that my students are really taken aback by are the jobs. It's so foreign to me that many of my non-majors are unaware of stage managers and lighting designers and properties designers and directors and choreographers, and just go all the way down the line of jobs that you can have in theater. And so I've noticed, as much as my students have enjoyed watching the production side of it, it's also a really great resource right now to pull up the American Theater Wing. So they have this wonderful series called Working in Theater, and I'm just going to center us up here just a little bit. Okay, so Working in Theater, great resources. All of these are videos that focus on what it is like to have a career in theater, and they're a wide variety. You can find videos that cover design, you can find videos that cover direction, that cover technical elements, auditioning, and I'll even say this, during the pandemic, they've really stepped up the amount of content that's available, completely free, no charge to you or your students or your school. So as you are trying to think of ways to keep your students involved and accessing all of the different types of theater, I'm really going to urge you to check out the American Theater Wing, Working in Theater. And again, we all structure our courses differently. We all have different aspects of our courses that we like to focus on, but I guarantee you will be able to find instructional material through this resource that helps students connect with the performing arts, connect with the behind the scenes portion of the performing arts, and in a way that is very easily socially distanced, and we're able to see these artists interact with each other before the shutdown, and being able to see what it takes to put up a production that we know. Everybody who works in theater knows exactly what it takes to put up a production, but utilizing these right now to help our students who are socially distanced be able to see what it's like for the production to come together, I've noticed that these have been wonderful resources for me as I've been navigating this world of social distance theater instruction. All right, we've hopped back into my Canvas course. The next aspect I'd invite you to think about. So we've talked about some quick links. We have talked about working in theater through the American Theater Wing. I'm also going to bring up the idea of discussing performance art versus theater, or having a larger conversation of what the live performing arts looks like. So I do know that live production is really difficult right now, right? We're very limited in seating capacity, even if you are able to gather at all in your town or your city. So I've taken an approach in the last couple of semesters of not limiting my theater appreciation class to only talking about the live production of theater. We've started having discussions over what is theater versus performance art. And a free resource that I've found the students really engage with is Cirque du Soleil. Tends to have a lot of examples of their performances available through YouTube, their website, different streaming services, totally for free. Now, you're not going to be able to watch the entire production for free, but you can see big chunks of it. And the music, the bright colors, all of those examples I found are a really good jumping off place to start discussing the 6 elements of drama, and then comparing what performance art looks like versus the like hierarchy that we consider important aspects of theater. So in a world that we're in right now with the social distancing, consider looping in other forms of live art when you discuss the live production of theater, and that's going to widen your ability to have more resources. For example, in Omaha, I know that the Omaha Symphony every once in a while will do free streaming services. For example, they did a very large Christmas production, and typically it would be considered theatrical. They bring in dancers from New York, it's costumes and scenery, and there's a lot of theatrical elements in that production, but the number one priority is still the music. And so we were able to share with my theater appreciation course the live streaming socially distanced event of the Omaha Symphony's Christmas Spectacular this year. And when you really widen that scope of the different avenues that you can go down discussing live performance, it makes it a little bit easier to access material for the course that you may not normally use. In a normal semester, I would not spend a great deal of time discussing the Omaha Symphony, but reaching out, trying to loop in as many arts organizations as possible, not only exposes the students to arts events happening locally or within some sort of radius that they could access, it's helping promote those organizations, but it's also giving us that wonderful discussion of what really makes theater. What do you have to have theater? So I encourage you, broaden your scope of what you discuss in theater appreciation. Don't rule out other forms of live performing art, because you can loop that into the discussion of what is theater. And then finally, I'm going to kind of wrap this up by saying, find ways to take snippets of productions. I know that may not be ideal, but one great resource that I've used really came out of a place of kind of like darkness and sadness in the fall semester. I love the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It is one of my favorite things during the year, and I was really kind of sad when I realized that the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade would look very different this year. And then I went down a rabbit hole of watching all of the different Broadway performances over the years, and I thought, wow, I think that watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and watching those performances as a kid growing up was one of my first exposures to the performing arts. And so I thought, if that's one of the first places I learned to love theater, I sure want my students to have that opportunity as well. So I created an entire section in my class of just snippets from the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, examples from their Broadway productions that they have every single year. And that was able to really spur conversations about not only the performance aspect, but what it means to change your venue, what it means to perform outside. How does that change up the audience's experience? So, as we kind of start to wrap up this session, again, I want to say thank you for continuing to teach theater appreciation, the art of theater, whatever it's called at your school, that exposing non-theater majors to the performing arts is certainly not easy right now. And again, I want to say that you're doing an amazing job, and to continue being inventive and to continue giving yourself grace as you reach out for different and well, it wouldn't be a Zoom meeting if the cat didn't say something. Continue challenging both you and your students, and don't forget to continue to really focus on the love of theater and the shared experience of theater, because even at socially distanced, if we are watching the same performance, if we're interacting with the same performance, it's still a shared experience and it's still a celebration of the arts. Thank you so much.